So my stories for you today, because I have so many stories of my escapades in India, is enough for a Bollywood movie, and it would put all of you to sleep. So today's vignettes are going to be little stories about my escapades in India when I first moved back there. Maybe you need to follow me in MoMondays somewhere else. But let's start off by this. My first escapades in India. Getting my first job. I was in the middle of a city, or apparently they called it a city. I like to call it my little village, because to me, there was nothing I had that was familiar there. The people, the accents, the language, the culture, the clothes, the food, everything was different. And it started off with my first job. I went in the first day. I didn't speak a word of Hindi. I remember, I grew up here, only spoke English. Grew up here, went there. On a pad of paper, I had written down, "What is your name?" in English letters, but in Hindi. Right? Aapka naam kya hai? Great, I know how to ask someone what is their name in Hindi. So I'm armed, right? My first job was as a receptionist. That's right, in a company. So in I walked, sat down, first phone call came in. I answered it very eagerly. "Hello, aap kya naam ka hai?" And the other person rattled off, not Hindi, but Marathi, which is another language. I had no clue. So my next question to them is, "How do you spell your name?" So they started, and I couldn't understand it. So it was Kulkarni. So I wrote it down. Cool, C-O-O-L, and Kearney, which is a Scottish or Irish name, like K-E-R-N-I-E, right? Handed that in. It didn't go over very well, because Kulkarni wasn't spelt like that. I have to say, I didn't last as a receptionist for very long. I moved up. So my motto at that point is, fear, right? Forget everything and run. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to forget everything I know and run. I can't do this job. So I got another job. Same company. They decided to keep me. They liked my smile. So they said, "We're going to put you in the export department." Okay, what are we exporting? Grapes. Great. Where are we exporting it to? The UK and to Denmark. And you're going to be talking to our clientele when they come and visit. Great, I'm the mantelpiece of the office, because I could speak to the foreigners there. Most of the people there spoke only Hindi and Marathi. It was wonderful. And there I was, never having ridden a motorcycle, getting on a moped, driving 11 kilometers in a sari, hiked over a moped seat, in a farm, in the middle of nowhere, checking the sugar content of grapes on a sugar meter. That job lasted me 3.5 years. And yes, we exported grapes to Denmark and to the UK, and I did a lot of other things with the company. But in a place that I didn't know a word about, didn't have any friends, any family, the options were this. Either I can forget everything and run, or I can fight and rise. Strength, hope, and courage are my motto. That led me to many more things. Because when you're in a foreign country, you have to learn and adapt to the people there. One of the other situations that remains in my mind, really, is when we went to visit someone's house and they served food. So it's cultural there that when you are served food, you are to accept everything that they serve you. And so very happily, I accepted it. One house, second house, 14th house, and the same item comes to you. Because you don't go and visit just one person. It's like in and out of everyone's house, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, everyone. You visit everyone. That's expected, especially when you're newly arrived and you're a foreigner. And so you're encouraged to go and visit everyone. When you accept it, you're supposed to eat it. So they would go off into the kitchen to prepare chai, and me, very, very carefully was scooping everything off onto whoever brought me's plate. And they'd come back, "Oh, wow, you finished it. Would you like some more?" "No, thank you. I'm good." Yes, because I was eating stuff that I'd never eaten before. I was craving pizza. I was craving burgers. I was craving pepperoni and mozzarella and noodles and stuff that I grew up with. In fact, I was so craving apple cobbler that I went to the corner store and I said, "Could I get some brown sugar, please?" And he looked at me with big eyes and he said, "Madam, we don't sell brown sugar here." And I said, "Well, what do you mean? Where can I get brown? I want to make apple crisp or apple strudel or something with apples. I just miss home. I want cinnamon in it." And, "Madam, no brown sugar." I came to know later, brown sugar was the slang for cocaine. I can now understand why he looked at me with these petrified eyes. 5'0", she's asking for brown sugar, right? That led me on. I raised my 2 children in India. They're now very big and may not remember all these tales, but I raised my 2 children in India. And one of the escapades that I have to say is that no matter what I struggled through, the mountains that were placed in front of me, I think it was the strength, the hope, and the courage to believe in myself and in my dreams. Having raised the children here, one fine day I decided I wanted to come back and give my kids the education here. So it brought my family back. And I had my kids go through high school here because I wanted to offer them the same type of education that I had. And having come back, I left my line of work. Yes, grapes left long ago. And while I was in India, I moved on to teaching high school English, IB English. And that's what I was doing when I left India, came back to Canada, and worked in the first day of my job. I met the former Deputy Minister of Education. I was now her assistant. Second day of the job, send out 17,000 emails. Okay. Where are we sending it to, miss? Right across Canada to all the directors of education, every school board and every superintendent of education for this program that we're doing. Okay. And I was on a conference call with her at that point, and on the other line are people whose voices I don't know who they are. I don't recognize their names, but I'm supposed to write the minutes. Strength, hope, courage. Forget everything and run, or fight and rise. And so my choice in all of these hurdles was not to say, I can't do it, but to look at it and say, what can I do? And how can I do it? And who can help me? And for that, I've always been grateful. So working for this whirlwind of a woman was quite a challenge. You can see that someone of that caliber, she walks and she generates work. And that was the type of caliber of woman she was. But I learned so much. What an amazing opportunity to be out of the country for 15 years and then to come back and be dropped in the middle of the political landscape of Canada and have to run with it. That led me to many things. And several years later, so I moved back in 2009, and several years later, in 2016, I launched my first program. I launched my first company, and that has led me to where I am today. My work with media, my work with using my voice, my work with the ability to stand up and motivate people has all been a basis of the strength, hope, and courage that all of these experiences that I've had from such a young age have helped to shape me. This is my first time telling my story, and there's lots of little bits here that I haven't shared with you, but it was a tremendous opportunity for me to come up here and speak to you, and I'm grateful that you're here and you're hearing this. It's been nervous to share, because when you're telling your own stories and you're telling parts of your own life, you wonder whether others are going to receive it the same way. So I thank you for listening to me. Strength, hope, courage.